press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
यार मार्केटिंग किस किस को पसंद है? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 backbenchers 11 12 I can see 13 14 yeah more than a dozen of people. What about the rest of them? Okay, for all of you, sorry ma'am, you're saying something? No, okay. For all of you love marketing, this session is for you. और जिसको marketing पसंद नहीं, आपको कुछ नया सीखने मिलेगा. Time to welcome all the marketing gurus on stage. The topic is building immersive marketing campaigns for kids. Let's welcome one by one the moderator for the session, Shweta Bharadwaj, Senior Executive Director, Insights Division, Kantar. Shweta ji, can I have you on stage, please? Let's hear it for Shweta Bharadwaj. Thank you, ma'am. The panelists for this session are Krishna Rao Buddha, Senior Category Head Marketing, Parle Products. Krishna Rao sir, welcome. Ved Narayan Sir Deshpande, Head of Marketing, Discovery Communications India. Welcome sir. Prachi Mohapatra, CMO FBB Future Retail. Welcome ma'am. Puneet Dharamsi, Vice President Marketing and Investor Education, AMFI. Welcome sir. Over to you sir.
Thank you so much. Can I request for the presentation to be up? Thank you. So, thank you everyone, and hope we have a lot of fun. Talking of advertising is what I tell my daughter, this is what I do for fun. And she thinks I just have fun at work and nothing else. Okay, so just getting started. I don't have a clicker, unfortunately. Can I have the clicker if you can turn to the next one? Okay, are you familiar with this? I mean, all parents in the audience would be that kids keep watching TV and they want to keep watching, and commercials are as much fun, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And to get the discussion started, I wanted you to watch a small piece of commercial out here.
हमारी साइंस की किताब नेहा से वापस ली।
क्या समझती है वो अपने आप को? मेरे खिलाफ षड्यंत्र रचेगी?
दिया,
उसका पाला मुझसे पड़ा है और मैं उससे बदला जरूर लूंगी। वो मेरे पंजे से बच नहीं पाएगी।
दिया, ये तुम
बस देखती जाओ माँ।
बच्चे सिर्फ बड़ों के टीवी प्रोग्राम देखेंगे तो क्या सीखेंगे? डिज्नी किड्स पैक सिर्फ 10 रुपए में। डिज्नी से बच।
Okay, sorry, I didn't anticipate this. Okay, just to get the discussion started, Rao sir, given that Parle has lots of kids brand, when we building, advertising for kids, how do you really go about it? A case study that you can call out, which is really close to your heart. Tell us all about that.
Well, good afternoon. So as far as advertising to kids is concerned, so at Parle, typically we look at the brand proposition as to what is the brand proposition, and so based on that, so earlier, typically we used to work on a retainer basis, and we would call actually agency and brief and get going with that. Unlike that, now it's become that much more difficult. So we call a set of agency, a roster of agency and agencies, and then brief. So there are certain guidelines actually. So we are into categories which are very, very sensitive these days actually. So we are into junk food, I would say. We are with greater awareness and certain regulations on food as a category, it's becoming that much more challenging. So with newer rules like HFSS, high fat, salt, sugar, so we have all the categories which are sort of seen as sinful actually. So it is actually that much more sensitive and that much more challenging for us. So So there are organizations which have sort of put up a self restraint on advertising. Unlike that, we are relatively, I am saying, insulated. Yet we are very treating the path extremely carefully, wherein so we want to ensure that we actually do not mislead children or kids. Actually, whatever proposition we have for any brand that we have, so we ensure that there is it's not really, it's as much truthful as possible. We ensure that the claims that we make are almost real, I would say, actually are real for that matter. We are in a state to actually prove if challenged. um, I think those are certain guidelines that we operate with. Uh, and yes, largely, yes, our spends are skewed more towards television. But at the same time, we've also looked at other medium. Uh, Typically, I would say we also look at a lot of kids' magazines and comics. So I think that also gives us a good
Which is your
reach.
favorite campaign? Which
Sorry?
is the one which is closest to your heart?
Uh, Closest to my heart, actually, it's yes, the flagship brand actually, and I go back to one of the first campaigns, one of the earliest campaigns of Parle-G, which talked about दादाजी. We call the film as दादाजी. हमको पता है जी, सबको पता है जी. I think there also we've shown, like, if you look at, we've sort of tried to keep certain values.
Yeah.
So if you try and recall the commercial, you always maintain to certain showcase certain set of values that Parle and Parle-G as a brand stands for.
Awesome. I also love the Roko Mat.
Yes.
Yeah, ad. Okay. Wait, coming to you. I mean, the world's really evolved in terms of, how, and you were mentioning that, how we were kids and how kids are today. So tell us more about what's changing, a campaign that's really, again, close to your heart, and talk about.
Yeah, so I think just to point out the Calvin and Hobbes case, I think we are on the other side of the business where
Yes.
where we are encouraging kids to watch more of TV. But that aside, I think when it comes to how kids are today, and I think kids are becoming older, younger is the mantra, right? So what I was 30 years ago and the worldview that I had is very different from the worldview that a 7 or an 8-year-old kid has today. And I think that reflects in our advertising and marketing very much so. So when it comes to Discovery Kids advertising, our proposition is hero panti, or which means that it's enabling you to be a hero in your everyday life. That's the proposition, and that's why the advertising and marketing that we do encourages people to come back to us, because it just gives them a sense of how they can be heroes in everyday life and with their friends and families. So that's a singular proposition that we drive. But I think when it comes to outside of the content ecosystem and how we advertise, I think there are two campaigns that kind of stick out for me. There's a radio campaign, PCRA. I don't know if anybody has listened to it. And there's a father who's in the car, and there's a young child who talks back. I don't know what's his age, but he talks back to the father and says, "When I grow up, I will want to own a cycle shop." And then the father says, "Why a cycle shop, right?" And he says, the way that you're driving your cars, the way that you're consuming your fuel, petrol to bachega hi nahi hai. So I have no option but to open a cycle shop. Which means that today, and that's the use of children in today's advertising, which means that they are becoming more conscious, they are becoming more aware. They are also talking back to the parent. I mean, that's also a critical point, right? And it's not a one-way street anymore. We are trying to see where the child has its own mind. It's trying to talk to the parent and actually is guiding him or her to change his or her habit. That's a big deal. And that's kind of sticker. It's not a television campaign, but it's a very impactful radio campaign. The other campaign that I also like, which is running recently, is the Apple ad, where APJ Abdul Kalam's voice is actually superimposed on kids actually talking. So it's his speech, and that's been projected. And the thesis of that ad is Apple is an enabler of the future. and that's delivered through kids. And I think that's a very powerful message that a consumer tech company, where a lot of the other sort of concerns that kids should not be engaged with technology, they should not spend time with technology, it's a distraction, etc., etc. And in that context, Apple coming up with an ad that kind of puts kids in a pedestal, that I'm the enabler for your future, is a big deal.
Amazing, because when you actually look at Apple as a philosophy as well, they look at kids in a very specific manner too. And this particular campaign, I mean, you see kids are totally hooked onto it when they actually look at positive reinforcement through every piece of word that a child is saying. So thank you so much, Ved. Prachi, coming to you, I mean, you lead a fashion brand. Tell us more about how you go about looking at kids, studying them, and building a marketing campaign. How does it impact your strategy?
I mean, first of all, we believe that they are far more smarter than what we think they are. So they beat us hands down every time we think we have cracked the mantra. So where we come from is primarily how do we influence the kids, of course, and how do we make the parent also get influenced so that they loosen their purse strings. So one of the campaigns that really is very close to my heart, I'll talk about one of our campaigns, was 4 years back, when we went back to the drawing board, what was not working for us in the kids category, and it's not only from a fashion perspective, what was not working for us from a Big Bazaar perspective also, was we could not understand why would parents not choose us as a brand. Then when we delved a little deeper, we could understand that in fashion, the primary reason for parents not choosing a brand, A, is trust. B, is बच्चे इतने जल्दी बड़े हो जाते हैं कि आप बार बार स्पेंड नहीं करना चाहते कपड़ों पे. लाइक एंड ऑल ऑफ अस हैव बीन विक्टिम ऑफ द सेम. हम हमेशा कपड़े खरीदते हैं ताकि 2 साल चले. We definitely buy them saying that okay, and I have definitely been taken to task when I bought something for my niece and my sister said, oh, ये तो अगले साल छोटा हो जाएगा. Oh well, there is 12 months to go. So these are the things which comes to fore when we speak about fashion. And the first thing we cracked and we spoke to was the buyer, which is the parents. So we spoke to them saying that, you know what, we are 99 wala price point. Come to us, we give you a product which is as cheap as a 99 rupees. So come to us and buy products and it will not pinch your pocket. Like if you buy something at 99 rupees, 199, it's not going to pinch you 3 months down the line also. So that's the first thing. That's when we started getting the flirters, as we call them, in the store, जो अंदर घूमते हैं but fashion नहीं touch करते. We got them to the Bay Area where we have our fashion lined up. Now, next season we had the same trouble because now kids have an influence on what I want to wear. So that's when we started again going back saying that now the sustenance of a brand is going to be how we get the kids also to look at us and say that okay, we are a fun brand and we need to get associated with this brand. Or I need to go to a Big Bazaar on FBB to actually buy the product that I want to buy. So if you hear the lingo of a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, she would know a culette and denim. Like she definitely understands कि मुझे एक culette पहनना है या shorts पहनना है या denim पहनना है. So that's when we started calling out our product category as they would like to call it out, like a shirt kind of a thing. So it catches their eyes. So that's when we our voice became them. Coming to the entire environment of how kids are being targeted or are being now being envisioned, I love the Flipkart way of going. I mean, it really takes you guts, I would say, to go that space and try something so different which nobody else has tried, and making kids look so smarter than actually what we think they are. So when they act as adults, and it's exactly what they want to become. All the kids want to become, and सबने sandals try किए होंगे, which are like 5 size bigger. सबने shoes try किए होंगे, सबने कपड़े try होंगे. But we never thought that they could actually make such an impact. And I really love how Flipkart has been using kids as the primary influencer to get their attention. So that's one piece of communication which has stuck with me.
It's amazing that one of the study actually highlights that kids not just influence what they buy for themselves, but also influence what their parents
Absolutely.
wear. You know,
Absolutely.
so it's an opportunity both ways. And just to put that in perspective, Puneet, I mean, your category, while directly does not talk to kids at this point in time, but uses kids for their innocence and charm, and across non-CPG category, you do see a lot of kids being used to actually, or kids being part of the marketing campaigns. So your views on how it is done, and
like you rightly mentioned in BF, in yeah. So in BFSI, we don't advertise to kids. We use kids for our advertisements, to bring in that emotional connect. तुम मर जाओगे, तुम्हारे बच्चे का क्या होगा, इंश्योरेंस ले लो, कल तुम्हारे बच्चे को पढ़ाओ के पायलट बनना है, क्या करोगे, हमारा अकाउंट ले लो. So we've been using kids as an emotional bait, for too long. And that somewhere I feel has to change and bring in more positivity towards the way children are used in, especially in BFSI advertising. That apart, overall, kids as a category for us now, especially at our company at Amphi, where we are trying to promote mutual funds as a category where you invest for the future. What we are trying to do is reach out to kids in schools and colleges, introduce to them, what is savings, what is investments, why you should be saving for your future. What is something that you can do yourself, or influence your parents to do it for you. That is something that we are trying out, so that we catch them early, we bring in early adopters. Otherwise, what happens typically right now, if you see children of this age, they are introduced to finance and savings at a much later stage, especially only just about when they're about to start earning, when it comes to finances, handling their own finances. So we're trying to get them to adopt early to some things. That's the thing that we're trying to do.
what is your view on, the brand loyalty that kids really bring with them, and how do marketers really cash into that? Because do you think they're very brand loyal, they're in between, they're flirters? Where do you think they are?
I think for my category, the extreme loyalty.
And what drives it?
It's not just loyalty, it's allegiance. So for example, if I have Little Singam and Fukre Boys as my set of characters, and they engage with them, talk to them every day, the engagement is not at an awareness or an advocacy level, it's at an allegiance level, which means that they will go to every extent to emulate, talk like them, go to school and propagate my brand and my IP. So for me, the category that I operate, the product that I deliver, I think the advocacy goes beyond. The advocacy is just a starting point. That's the sort of entry point for them to start watching us every day.
Yeah.
But the idea is to move them from advocacy to allegiance, where they are, not only watching us, but they are also buying our products outside of our ecosystem, which is our linear ecosystem. They're going back to our YouTube page or Netflix, watching our content. So I think for us, that's the word of mouth that they generate. So for us, that's the sort of currency that we operate. So advocacy and allegiance is super critical in our category.
Prachi, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, kids are. I feel that whatever experience we have had with so many categories, over so many categories in our format, is wherever we have kept them engaged, they're loyal to that. So any place that they stay engaged, they're absolutely loyal to that space. So if we kept them engaged for a luggage section with a character from Disney, or from like a Disney character or a Marvel character, they have been very loyal to us. Second, they are extremely loyal to where they can have fun. So if my format promises them कि 14th of November आप यहाँ आ जाइए, मैं छोटा भीम से मिलवाने वाली हूँ, they're extremely loyal to me for that period of time. But giving due consideration to where we are, we're talking to a highly engaged generation. They definitely understand instant gratification as like a second language. So that's precisely what we are gunning for. And second is, I think when we speak to parents should always have that trust factor of engaging with a brand. So the persistent factor only does not work from a kid. It's somehow we have realized that over a period of time, if you don't form a connect with the parents, then we're going to lose out as a brand very fast.
That's true. That's true. What about you?
I think loyalty is a function of brand actually. So there are we operate in a category wherein there is barely any loyalty. So we have confectionery which is 50 paise and 1 rupee. So I think it is the prerogative of the brand to instill loyalty. I'm saying even a television, cartoon network or cartoon genre rather, or kids genre for that matter. So there are ups and downs. So you see suddenly at one point in time there was a certain brand which was leading, and suddenly you see 6 months down the line another brand coming in. So actually what is the brand doing? What is the kind of programming the channel is working upon? I think it's a function of that, and suddenly you see that there is yet another channel which is coming in. Okay, there are certain, within a channel, there are certain new characters purely, completely indigenous or produced in India and all. So they are taking shape. So our own case actually, when we sort of introduced Kacha Mango Bite in way back in 2004, so there was like massive following, but it couldn't last really long. So though pretty long, I would say, almost about 14-15 years till Pulse happened. So Pulse came and changed the game. So somewhere Parle Kacha Mango Bite lost the game, I would say. So we couldn't take the brand to a next level. And there are certain such instances across. That's why we see that kids keep changing loyalties. So I think so long as the brand is able to appeal to them, they would stick, otherwise they would move on.
Yeah, actually your category is quite challenging, though it is confectionery, but obsolescence in your category is just like the tech category, where formats come, they become buzzy, or one gets on, the other kid picks it up and it becomes like a group really. Yeah, so that's true. So catching them early, Puneet. I mean, so while you actually using kids to talk to the parents, I mean, how do you go really beyond and engage the kids in, your campaigns, etc.? So, are there certain examples from your category that you could share?
So BFSI has used BTL a lot for this purpose. Reaching out to, be it a bank or an insurance company, reaching out to kids through activities, getting them engaged. Typically very small things which you would think that how does this impact, like a drawing competition, a painting competition, paint what you want to become. Then that brings out what the kids really want to do. A very memorable campaign, that was recently done by Axis Mutual Fund, where they did a research and they showed what kids want to become, they draw, and what the parents of those kids draw, what they want to become. And so they, kind of put them together and showed that, look how different both of you are thinking. So all of these activities, especially BTL, now with digital coming in, people are, we're trying to reach out, understand what the kids want, and then shape them up that way.
Sure. So I'll just go a step deeper into what really takes to make a great advertising or a marketing campaign. So just taking you on to the next piece of communication. Now, typically, if you see, kids actually latch on to communication really, really fast. I still remember when my daughter was about 5 years old and she said, ये ice cream ad जो बोल रहा है वो ठीक नहीं है. So one of the challenge you also have, and when you kind of marketing to kids, is that they are impressionable minds, right? But at the same time, they cannot distinguish between ये content है and ये advertising है, right? So just taking you through one more piece of communication that I totally love. To set the context for the next stage. I hope.
मुझे God Cadbury दे दो God. Please God, please.
Stop it.
Please God. Please God. Please God Cadbury दे दो God. Cadbury मिल गया. मेरे लिए भी मांग लेता. Next time, okay?
रैपर मैं फेंक दूं? कुछ अच्छा हो जाए, कुछ मीठा हो जाए. Cadbury Dairy Milk.
So there are campaigns that are really fun, and there are campaigns like these which really make you go, oh, you know. So just touching upon the dimensions of, you know, how you go about building certain elements that actually make a campaign successful. If you can touch upon some of those elements, you know, talk about any campaign or, you know, range of campaigns that you could have worked in terms of contrast. So.
Well, on similar lines, I would actually pick an Alpenlibe campaign which talked about Upar Wala Jane. I think that was also very, very quite innocent and actually yet bang on the, like, you know, so the messaging was really up there. And I think it really touched the chord. I think yet very, very clean and yet to the point.
Wait, what about you? Especially when you're building content.
So I think we recently launched Fukre Boys about 4 months ago, I think. Again, Fukre, it's come from a movie franchise which is very popular, and they are also, and that talks to millennials. And we were creating our characters which were school kids, right? So it's a miniature version of the grown-up characters of Fukre, right? And this was called Fukre Boys. And I think when we were kind of devising the sort of insight, and the creator is sitting right here, Uttam, when we were discussing internally what should be our sort of communication peg to this is that, and we were going back and forth on the research that we have done in the past. One of the things that we stumbled upon is relationships, and the aspect of relationships that was having a sea shift, basically, right? What we got from the research was that there was an increasing trust that was given to what friends are saying versus what the parents are saying. I thought that was very critical for us to kind of hit the nerve, saying that should we focus on fun, should we focus on you know, the jugards that they do in the characters, or should we peg this somewhere else? And the entire communication was coming from the aspect that today kids are very comfortable with their friends. They are literally sharing every sort of aspiration, desire, anxiety, motivations, all of that with their friends, right? So it's the relationship is not just transactional to the aspect of playing games and having fun, but going beyond that to really confiding in with them their sort of deepest dark secrets, and they really, I mean, and the aspect of letting their hair down with when they're with their friends, versus a relationship that they were doing with, or an evolving relationship that is happening with their parents. So our peg, the communication peg, was friendship plus masti is equal to Fukrapanti. That was our communication peg, and that was centrally rooted in the fact that when you're with your friends, you kind of leave away your inhibitions, and then you're actually having fun. And that was our communication peg. So I think deeply rooted in research, deeply rooted in behavior, deeply rooted in how they're behaving in their everyday lives, basically.
Prachi, what about, you know, fashion?
Yeah, I'm wanting to cover what we do as a format as well. Like, I know this kind of content definitely is a hard tug, and it definitely gets a brand to the fore that which garners the awe experience. We've done that, and I know for sure that it definitely moves us up as a brand. But where we started looking back and thinking that what is it that kids and parents will look at us and say that we need to use this format, because I have a very low brand loyalty in a space where we function. It's a mass fashion space, and loyalties are like really low. So where we thought, when we look back at our own first party data, which we have as our own data, is approximately 12 to 13% are mothers who are not, again, considering us in the set of like fashion buying at all. So when we went back and said that, okay, let's figure out how do we build our relationship with these mothers. Like, we have something which we are offering for an infant, and we offer the entire gamut of products for an infant, but how do we bring them to our deck and say that, okay, you know, your journey starts from us, and you can be with us in this journey, we can be with you on this journey, till your kid is like a teenager. So when we look back our data, we discussed and decided that okay, let's have a space, a voice wherein we give them the experience of shopping with your mother, like mother and me and my mom kind of an experience. And it brought to a space wherein we knew that it was a tactical voice, it had a tactical voice, but the experience that we wanted to give was come and experience our format. And that's when you will understand as a parent that we are going to be a brand which is going to lead you on, be with you on this journey, and as a kid you will have fun at our format. So that's the space we have been experimenting in this at this point of time. From this space we have moved a little ahead now.
Okay, what about you, Puneet? I mean, brands in BFSI and other spaces. At what age typically they start engaging with kids, and do you think certain journeys can be advanced in terms of partnership with brands, which are far more engaging at this point?
Sure. So banks typically start engaging with the kids early because they have their young savings account. So and especially banks like ICICI Bank and Kotak have done some really nice campaigns around a kid's account. And if you see, they've been they've used forums like your the young singers reality contests that you have on TV. So they've tied up with those kind of formats to advertise on those or to talk about their young stars product. So those kind of brand endorsements or brand co-partnering works really well in this category.
In terms of media, sir, I mean, do you look at media when you kind of look at your campaigns differently when you're targeting the younger kids versus the older kids, and how do you go about deciding some of those and certain decisions that might be playing into it, or any aha moment you've had with the younger kids and a bit of an older kids?
So this has happened actually. So we have a brand called Poppins, and we were struggling actually, and we were like sort of getting out of like consumers moving out of brand consideration. And when we checked actually, and when we did a quick check with the 8 to 12-year-olds, actually they went on to say, we were like really stunned. They went to say, "Arey Poppins to mera chota bhai ya choti behan khati hai." So that is when we realized actually this brand has sort of been sort of repositioned as for very young kids. So we felt that there was a need actually to bring in. So it's becoming sort of that much एकदम छोटे बच्चे के लिए ये तो. So if mango bite खानी है तो मैं खा सकता हूँ, but Poppins my younger sibling would have. So that is where we sort of identified that distinction. So as far as media is concerned, and accordingly we devised a communication for Poppins wherein we tried to instill a lot of attitude, so that even older sibling actually would want to like, "Arey yaar, kuch baat hai brand mein." So to have a better appeal. So as far as media again is concerned within the kids genre, so somewhere we realize like a channel like Pogo is again fitting more for a Poppins kind of a TG, relatively younger kids, like not less than 6-year-olds or so. Or Nick Jr. for that matter. Whereas for 8 to 12 or 13-year-old kids, so we have all the other channels.
Wait, what about you? Because one of the learnings we have is that, as kids approach the teenage, they move into a lot more other genres as well, right? And
it's happening even younger. It's not even like they are moving towards different genres like Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma and
exactly,
all of that other
movies.
content very early
Yeah.
in their life cycle.
Yeah.
Because of exposure. Again, it's
Correct.
co-viewing, single TV households, etc. So there's a lot of sort of challenge as a content company, as a broadcaster to fight that battle to keep the viewership alive. But I think from a media standpoint, again, there are usual suspects, right? So you advertise on core TV, channels which are catering to kids, etc. But I think one of the interesting things that we did for the Fukre Boys launch was we partnered with a brand, an influencer, and this is a very interesting point that kids are now having their own influencers.
That's true.
IU and PU, I don't know how many of you know from this group here, is one of the fastest growing kids channel in India. And this is a girl and a boy in MP that they started doing YouTube videos. They got extremely popular, and their parents have quit their job now. They've set up a studio above their house, and they just do videos, right? So we partnered with them. The amount of leverage and PR and visibility that we got with that partnership cannot be kind of got through any other medium, so to speak, right? It's a new medium. It's an influencer medium. We do, since I handle the other portfolio of brands in the Discovery Network, we use influencer marketing across our other brands.
Yeah.
But this is a new aspect that we are kind of looking at it. And the innovative aspect is that now kids have their own influencers.
Yeah.
And how do we tap into those influencers to drive our brand message is very critical. Yes.
Are other brands actually using this medium right now? Are you guys actively using the influencer route? You considering it for future? Where do you think it's headed?
Well, I'll not rule it out. I kind of agree to that. Yesterday I was browsing through Instagram and I was looking at Jannat Zubair's handle, and I was looking at the kind of content that she's putting out there with her 10-year-old brother. It's something that all of us are consuming, right? And
Right.
the kids get so influenced by this. So I'm not ruling it out at all. That's. I remember a year back when we were trying to fight for a cricket brand ambassador. As a voice, we were ruled out. That doesn't stay true today, for sure. That's something that is going to become a reality very soon. That's true.
Talking about the shifts that you might be expecting in the next few years, one shift that you think will actually come about or has started to see? I mean, we spoke about influencer. Any other spaces that are really emerging when you're really looking at kids, marketing to kids, or marketing to kids via parents, or two parents via kids? I mean, it's all three there.
I think, yeah, so Ved already touched upon, I think. There is definitely a shift that one can see as far as the medium is concerned. So I distinctly remember when television came in the early 80s, people said now print is done.
Yeah.
But then print is still live and kicking, and Varnak, we see that is growing and thriving. So likewise, now 4G happened, and everyone said KBR, so TV pe to bahut pressure and all. But my belief is, so look at developed countries, so television is here to stay. But yes, there is definitely a shift happening. So possibly the next major shift we can envisage or expect with the introduction of say 5G in 2-3 years later, wherein already we're seeing that there is a movement. So more and more kids are sort of like switching off television. So the smaller screens, the tablets or the mobile screens they're finding it far more comfortable, and a lot of these OTT platforms actually. So they are providing fantastic content. And again, it's like it suits the convenience of the kids as well. So it's like video on demand. So whenever I have time, irrespective of my school timings, etc., I can view what I want. And also, it also helps parents to sort of so play a role of a gatekeeper, especially the mother, actually, as to what the child is viewing, etc. So I think definitely that we can see that a new medium seems to be emerging. Television, for that matter, would remain and thrive. But at the same time, I think there is going to be a new set of options soon.
I mean, with EdTech coming in and opening this entire, it's becoming a reality for all the kids, and with WhatsApp groups between parents, just amongst parents, creating the next level of homework sharing and all. I think the medium might change, but what is going to remain true to every kid is how we can engage this smarter generation more and more. So that's going to be true for all of us here as marketers. We definitely are going to stay true to that. The medium might be anything.
I think I kind of take from where this is left off, right? A smarter kid, basically.
Yes.
I think the point is that if you look at it about 10-20 years ago, like the Pester Power was related to categories that are kids only. Now the Pester Power is across categories actually. So I think you know, I was talking to some colleague in office, and he was saying that my son is encouraging me to buy a flat in that society because there is a certain sort of amenities that are not available in say XYZ other society, right? So I think the Pesta power is moving away from just to do with मेरे को chocolate चाहिए, मेरे को वो चाहिए, to basically to larger sort of interests, and that's coming through confidence, being exposed to multiple other things. In terms of from an advertiser point of view, I think that's from a behavior standpoint. But from an advertiser standpoint, I think it's important for us to be careful in terms of not beating to the stereotype. I think today, the world is moving to gender equality. The world is moving towards not, creating pencils that are pink in color for girls and pencils create blue pencils for boys. I think it's important to kind of, as advertisers and marketers, not to beat that road. And it's always a tricky question that we are discussing internally, saying that should we have an IP that is female focused versus a male focused. It's always a challenge because in today's ecosystem, 80-90% of kids IPs are male focused. There is no female protagonists that are there, and that times need to change in the future, and it will. But it's for us to kind of shape that future and not beat to the stereotype.
Puneet, any closing remarks?
So for the future, as more and more paid subscription devoid of advertising, catches pace, as advertisers, we'll have to think of how do we integrate within the content so that our messaging still reaches out to them where there is no advertising. That will be our focus.
Time's up almost, right? Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. So I'll just leave everybody behind with one campaign that actually went beyond, and how it was also solving for challenges we as parents, kind of face. And with that, we can open for questions. Do you think we'll have time?
Yep.
Thank you. Should we take a question?
Do we have any questions? Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Hello. Hi sir, my name is Saurabh and my question is for Ved Narayan sir. So how do you gauge trends or be proactive in deciding that what will be the next big thing in kids content space, sir?
I think it's a function of research and more research, right? I think it's important to keep an eye on what the kids are consuming, what are their aspirations, what are their relationships like. So who are the heroes? It's important to understand that as well, right? And I think one example is basically Tiger Shroff. I don't know how much appeal he has for millennials, but he has definitely an appeal for kids, right? So one of our competitors have actually picked that trend up, and he's one of, he's the face of that brand. It's a critical aspect to find that out, right? So you never know what would kids like in a particular thing, and it's a constant effort from our side to keep at it, chipping away to understand how they are behaving with products, how they are behaving with friends, family, how they are behaving with content, who are their heroes, etc., to kind of then devise something that is more aspirational to them. So it's a function of research, I would say.
We'll take one last question from the lady in black there, right at the very end. If you can just get a mic to her.
Hi, can you hear me? My name is Sarika. Since we are talking about how do we engage kids and how do we infuse brand loyalty through engagement, I actually run a firm of my own which creates a very large-scale B2C platform called the Kid Town Fair, wherein Dora from Nick Jr. visits every year, twice a year, and interacts with children and parents all the day for 2 days. And Nick has been on board with us since the last 7 years, simply because the kind of loyalty that generates, that kind of loyalty that a BTL activity like that generates, they say is unparalleled. So don't you think that when we are talking about engaging children, a live experience can substantiate all other efforts at a very low cost? At a very, very low cost, you can augment all your other elements and raise the effectiveness.
100% agree. I think we are moving from a shared economy to an experiential economy.
Right.
So I think it's very critical to we at Discovery Kids run a school contact program that goes to 1,300 plus schools. It's an annual exercise, and we directly go to schools and talk to kids about self-defense, right? And I think the value of the brand and the character going to these schools and actually engaging with them at a one-to-one level is extremely fruitful. So we are doing that, and I think we know the value of BTL activations that create an experience for kids. So I think it's a very powerful platform for us, at least.
Yeah, because that's what we realize as a firm, that over the last 7 years, the response that we now get from corporates for our BTL, for the platform that we, is just fantastic. Like, it's increasing every year, and we are very proud that, you know, it can generate that kind of leads for them and get them to come back year over year. So it's,
I mean, congratulations on the endeavor, and that's precisely what most of us are trying to achieve here, to make it more experiential, as we are mentioning, and make it more lively and engaging for the kids. And this is where I think we will have, all of us are racking our brains to get it right at this point of time.
good. Just wanted to share this thought with you, because, you know, when you run a firm for so many years, you're kind of operating in your own space. It's nice to hear what you guys feel. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing those. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Just before you leave, a token of appreciation from our end to be presented by Siddharth Laik, founder and editor-in-chief of IWM Buzz. Let's hear it for our wonderful panelists out here. Thank you, panelists, thank you.